So, there have been some state legislator bills that are in committees here in my home state of Indiana that are inherently transphobic and are just big stinky all around. They, if passed and put into effect, it would most certainly hurt a lot of trans youth here in Indiana and would possibly force a lot to leave in order to seek proper, adequate care. Now, we should get into the language that is employed by the bills, which I have downloaded. And we will get into, like, basic understandings as to what exactly these bills are targeting about trans youth. We have here Indiana Don't Say Gay bills would ban teaching of gender identity, sexual orientation. So this is back in January. It is a month from then. Bills to ban the teaching of gender identity, gender roles, and sexual orientation in schools have been filed by GOP lawmakers in the Indiana legislature. House Bill 1608, introduced by Representative Michelle Davis, would prohibit all Indiana schools and their third-party vendors from providing any instruction in kindergarten through third grades with the intent to study, explore, or inform students about 6 topics: gender fluidity, gender roles, gender stereotypes, gender identity, gender expression, or sexual orientation. That's the one introduced by Michelle Davis, who has degrees in education from Ball State. And let's just say the wording in the bill itself actually is explicitly would ban all of this being discussed to kids in kindergarten through third grade. There is a different bill, which is, as far as I'm aware, has not passed committee. This one did just yesterday's 1608 passed committee. And it has until February 27th, I think, in order to pass through the House to then go to the Senate of Indiana. And whether or not this will happen, I do think that this will pass. And I think it will probably just be the start. I think that other version that bans it through K through 12 will eventually come up. It's going to start here with K through 3. At the very least. At the very least. Like, I know it's going to pass. Because it's a Republican supermajority here. It's going to pass. They banned abortion here in Indiana. I went to those protests. And however, as far as I know, it's still been blocked by a judge. The trans athlete law that was passed via overriding a veto with over 2/3 majority. Like I said, Republican supermajority. Even when the Republican governor is like, no, I'm going to veto this because it's stupid. Even then. Like, I don't know what there is to hope for Indiana now. If anything. So, let's get right back to it. I think this one mainly covers that first one that we have talked about. So then there's more, of course, always more. I will find it. This specific one. Nope, don't open there. Open it with please. Chrome. Yay. So here's that House bill, and you can see it's updated as of yesterday. This is the one that has passed amendments and the committee. So if passed by the House like this, it would then go to the Senate, and it would go to Indiana Governor Holcomb, where I don't know, we'll see if he signs something like this. I don't know. He just might. But if he doesn't, if he vetoes it, it could easily get overridden. So let's look at the actual go away, Vsauce. Let's look at the actual synopsis here that is written. Provides that a school, an employee or staff member of a school, or a third-party vendor used by a school to provide instruction may not provide any instruction to a student in kindergarten through grade 3 on human sexuality. Provides that a school employee or school staff member is not prohibited from responding to a question from a student regarding certain topics. Provides a staff member of a school may only use a name, pronoun, title, or other word to identify a student that is inconsistent with the student's sex. If the student who is an adult or an emancipated minor, my bad, or the parent of an unemancipated minor requests in writing, yes, meaning the parent would have to request in writing the use of a specific name. So, let's go over all of this. Let's break that down. If you go up to a teacher as a little 5 or 6, 7-year-old, and you ask them, yo, I don't know about, like, being a boy. What if I'm a girl? Or if I'm a girl, I'm a boy? Or I don't feel like either. Something around that kind of question. The teacher cannot instruct them about the actual the actual truth of what, like, gender is, and what it means to express gender, what it would mean. That's really all that you would have to go over. That it's okay to express what you want to be. However, they do not want that. The Republicans that wrote this one up don't want kids who do question this about themselves to be comfortable with who they feel they are. And that will be destructive to the health of trans youth here in Indiana, because they might not learn until much later that they are not cis, or they're, and this isn't just with gender, this is with sexuality too, that they might not even like girls or boys very much, even though they're told by everyone that they should like girls or boys. Or yeah, that's usually about it. And then and this doesn't have to be in a sexual nature. This is like, sexuality is inherently about attraction. And it can be on the sexual level, but it can also be on the appearance level. That is rarely ever explained well. So, if a classroom could get that right, I would love that, and instruct that right. And I think it would be fine to instruct that to small kids. Not everything about it, because there's a lot to it. And it would just be overwhelming to, of course, learn about a lot of what's into the general topics of sexuality and gender. However, there's another thing here that is super alarming to me. You need a request written by your parents in order to have the pronouns and names that you want in the classroom. Meaning, if you have parents who are not supportive of you as someone who's not cis or straight, someone who's queer, like, this is just a general LGBTQ like, bill here that is just awful. What if you are that kid at home who has parents that are terrible to you for not conforming to your assigned at birth stuff? Well, the state government here, in this case, if passed, would force teachers to like dead name. And if you care at all about the health care of the youth, you wouldn't want people to commit suicide more. Which trans youth have that statistic in spades, unfortunately. This bill does nothing to address that. In fact, it will make it worse than what it currently is here in Indiana. Like that, like especially that one with the name requiring written permission. Like, the parent does not own their child. Is that controversial to say? No, it's not. So, if a kid wants to be called something, they should be called something. And we'll get into the actual language that the bill employs, and I'll skip by a lot of filler here. So it doesn't apply to private schools. It applies to public schools, including charter schools. Let's see. Yep. Here's the written permission rule. Yeah, they made some minor changes to this when they went through it on committee, and it passed. 9 yeas to 4 nays. So for schools, section 2, as used in this chapter, sex means an individual's biological sex as either male or female based on the individual's genetics and reproductive biology at birth, including sex organs, chromosomes, and hormones, without regard to the gender that the individual experiences, identifies with, or expresses. This just flat out denies trans people existing. Like, because this is what it's, I mean, and it doesn't really say much about, if anything at all, about the, about intersex people. Nope. Nothing. Yeah, so if you are, if you're like born with PP, you are boy, and if you're born with the not PP, you are girl. And it's like, do you even know what pronouns are? Do you even know what all this means anymore? I don't think they do. Obviously not. Why else would they write such bullshit legislation? Oh, man. So that's pretty bad. But wait, it gets worse. There is also this one. They're trying to pass gender-affirming care bans for minors. And the one that is in committee for voting tomorrow at the State House on February 22nd, 2023 at 9 a.m. People will be meeting up there at 8 a.m. if you want to protest. Please do if you can. I'm going to try. Yeah, this is a bill that would ban gender affirming care for transgender youth. Let's look at that bill. Prohibits a physician or other practitioner from knowingly providing gender transition procedures to an individual who is less than 18 years of age that are intended to alter the gender of the minor or delay puberty. So puberty blockers would also be banned. Provides for certain medical exceptions. I think it does make an exception for intersex people from what I looked at the bill. We won't go into the exceptions because I know that it's about intersex people basically, and like if it is required for your physical health, then it can be. But so this goes over what it means for, hormone therapy in its own terms. which is fine. Yeah, and then but this gets it wrong. Of being male or female when it talks about gender. That's not gender, that's sex. Gender would be boy, girl, themby. A squishy, I don't fucking know. Whatever you would want to use as a label. And then, like, male, female, and then intersex, which I use as the ambiguous third. That's what... that's what sex is. But you're using it here for gender. Okay. Glad to see that we did our homework. As used in this chapter, gender reassignment surgery means any medical or surgical service that seeks to surgically alter or remove healthy physical or anatomical characteristics or features that are typical for an individual's sex in order to instill or create psychological or anatomical characteristics that resemble a sex different from the individual sex. Dude. Including genital gender reassignment surgery or non-genital gender reassignment surgery. Okay, so yeah, okay. So if you're a trans dude, and a minor, you couldn't get titty removed. As used in this chapter, gender transition means the process in which an individual shifts from identifying with living as a gender that corresponds to his or her sex to identifying with living with a gender different from his or her sex, being trans, and may involve social, legal, or physical changes. Okay. Gender transition procedures are basically efforts that seeks to alter or remove, and still, we already went over that. Yeah, and then it goes over types of surgery and what it wants to define them as. They look fine enough. And then puberty blocking drugs. So yeah, puberty blockers are also banned here for minors, which is the whole point of puberty blocking drugs used for transitioning for minor. As used in this chapter, sex, so this is what they define as sex, means the biological state of being male or female based on the individual's sex organs, chromosomes, and endogenous hormone profiles. Okay? Well, even then, there's a lot of women who aren't that, and a lot of men who aren't that, shockingly. Not a lot. It's like actually a small number, but there are. And they might not even know! Except as provided in subsections C and D, which did cover intersex. A physician or other practitioner may not knowingly provide gender transition procedures to a minor. They may not, a physician or other practitioner may not refer a minor to a practitioner for gender transition procedures. So if you refer, you can't. Okay, and then, a physician may continue to prescribe to an individual who was taking, stuff, on June 3rd, 2023, as part of a, until December 31st, 2023, the subsection expires the 1st of next year. Okay. So that's how long you would have in order to stay on your stuff. Healthcare services furnished in the following situations may not include gender transition procedures to a minor. By or in a healthcare facility owned by the state, county, or municipality, by a physician or other practitioner employed by state, county, or local government. It goes over that stuff. You can seek damages against the people who do these procedures, against the doctors and whatnot. Okay, that's horrible. These are doctors that just want to help kids. That's it. That's the only point I need to make there. And they want to basically criminalize this care for kids. Yeah, and then the Attorney General may investigate and bring in action to enforce compliance with this chapter. Nothing in this chapter denies, impairs, or affects the right of the or authority of the Attorney General or any agency, officer, or employee of the state acting under any law or institute to intervene in any proceeding. And that's all she wrote. Jesus Christ, this one is awful. Well, looks like I am gonna have to show up to the State House tomorrow morning. Ugh. This makes me wanna cry. But it's okay. As long as we stick together, make our voices heard, and do whatever we can to let people know that, number one, it's not a bad thing to let trans people exist, and that it is a very bad thing to increase their certainly increase their likelihood of suicide. But that's what these bills will do. I'm gonna try and keep an eye on the development of all these kinds of bills here in Indy. It won't be easy. There's a lot to keep track of. But it can be done. So, today on stream, I'm gonna make a poster, a sign. Ah. Okay. Very nice. Nice. Well, guess we'll see how tomorrow goes.
There in the on-deck position. Doing that will speed up the process and again allow for more individuals to testify.
Stop the bans! Stop the bans! Stop the bans! Stop the bans! Stop the bans!
Hey, I just got back from Indy. It passed, of course. So they have until the 27th of February, but I know it's got only like a few days now that it's out of committee to be passed in the Senate. That SB 480. So we'll see how that goes. I'll be there for when it is voted upon, probably. And yeah, I think it'll definitely pass here in Indy. What a shame. All right, take care.